So just answer a few of these questions. Then I'm going to ask you to respond to me about the first two. So let me ask you then, what values have been most important to you in your life? Many of you are still very young. But what values got you to where you are? What are the things you believe in that could help drive the way in which you make your gifts? Yeah.
When I was growing up, I always remember my parents giving freely to others. I mean, if they saw somebody that needed something and they had it, they would give it to them. And we didn't have much, but I just remember them caring about other people. And I can remember that when I got married and started going to church, that was something that carried over with me, and I think and I see it in my children now as well. So just passing on a caring, giving heart.
Okay. You know, the whole idea of that we need to take care of each other, and that interdependence is a good thing, and in fact, it's good for us to be interdependent. So in the U.S. there's this kind of tension between independence and interdependence, and you know, that's what we're constantly working with. We want to be free to act on our own. But we recognize that we are also interdependent at the same time. And that having interdependence is good for us. Even being somewhat dependent on others for support and help is good provides a useful outlet for others. And being interdependent and having somebody that depends on you is good for you. Bye, Tina. See you later. Don't forget to put the top down. I'm also a car guy, so that's one of the things I need to tell people. So I like cars. So, you're welcome. Good to see you. Say hi to Dan. Other values, other things.
Well, I think the first word that came to my mind was integrity.
Yeah.
And also advancement in the sense of improving situations, or whether it's the workplace, the job, the customers, the people you're interacting with.
Yeah, integrity is in fact a value. I mean, if you ask people what values do you associate with an ethical person, the first two that come out are honesty and integrity. You know, telling the whole truth, and then acting out the truth, or acting out your values. So those are good. And so that you can find programs that actually teach these things to children, for example. What else? Education. Education got me where I've got education. I believe deeply in education. That education transforms lives. It transforms the social setting in which you can function. And so much of our money goes back to education. And so if you want to talk to me about how did I get to where I am, it's because I got a great education. And I was able to move. I'm a first generation college graduate. I'm a first generation high school graduate. Neither of my parents graduated high school. So you think about the life you can live because of education. I believe in education as well. If you want to talk to me about leaving a planned gift, you better be talking about that area first, right? Anybody else want to share? Jim's giving me the sign. It's almost time to quit. Well, what I've tried to do here is to introduce you to 2 documents that I think that will help you think about gift making prior to the other conversations you're going to hear. This is the soft side of giving. It's the soft side of planned and major gifts. You know, when we give small gifts, we often don't think carefully about making those small gifts, but as the gifts get larger, we think more carefully about those gifts. In fact, with one organization, I thought this was really interesting. It's one organization that my wife and I support. You know, last year our gift got larger. And after we made the gift, she said, you know, I've really begun to think that we should be spending more of our money to help underprivileged kids. And so we went and talked to that organization about how the gift we've made to that organization could be used in that manner, inside their mission. And so just an interesting discussion that took place. But, you know, so she has now revealed part of what it would take to help increase gifts in other areas of our organization from her perspective. And so that's important, you know, so that when the gift got larger, she finally said, you know, I think we should be doing more to help underprivileged kids. So we know now what one of her values is and how she's going to have to come to it. And if you're talking to her about making a plan, if you're talking to the 2 of us about making planned gifts, you know, ultimately that conversation is going to get to that value. You know, helping those who can't help themselves. Doing foster children is a remarkable thing. I've watched people do it. It's a remarkable gift to take in kids and help them find their way in life when they don't have parents. Well, thank you all for paying attention, not falling asleep. I didn't see anyone fall asleep. I got close a couple of times, I think. But thank you all for doing that, and then good luck with the program. Thank you very much for caring about this.
We'll go ahead and get started with Scott's presentation. And many of you do know Scott. But Scott is Senior Vice President with Old National Wealth Management, and he's Client Advisor Manager and a Certified Financial Service Counselor. Now his volunteerism goes through a whole community. So he's a past president of Hoosier Hills Estate Planning Council, the Bloomington Rotary, and past board member and president of the Community Foundation of Bloomington Monroe County, as well as past president and campaign co-chair for the United Way of Monroe County. He currently serves on our development committee for the Community Foundation, and he's really been a great support to us and a great resource for us, and he really embraces the community of Bloomington, and we thank Scott Walters for being with us.
Thank you, Jim. All that glorious stuff said, I must confess to feeling a little bit, I'm bracketed by 2 true experts on the subject of charitable giving. I'm just a guy that knows a little bit. But I think maybe what I can bring to you today is a little different perspective because of what I do. And let me just describe what I do, not to tell you what my job is, but to help set what might be my somewhat different perspective on the subject today. So I help people invest their money, plan their finances, do their estate planning. As a wealth advisor, you know, I get very involved, very deeply involved in relationships. You know, I could tell you stories about how those relationships go, but suffice it to say, you know, I'm on a daily basis talking to people, and part of that is their charitable giving. Just a couple, got to tell one story that I think is indicative of how things go sometimes, not the best of times. One of the responsibilities I feel when I help people do estate planning, and what's estate planning? Estate planning is just where people sit down